thank you very much, and thank you for listening in. I've been CEO of Landore for roughly 4 months, and decided to come out of retirement for this, and because I think we've got something pretty strong in Ontario with some serious legs. So we'll be talking today about Landore itself in general, but particularly the BAM Gold Project, which is really our main asset. A little bit of background on myself. I know a lot of you know me. I've been in the industry for over 35 years in mining. 30 years or so out of that is in gold mining specifically, advanced exploration, moving into pre-development, development, feasibility studies, and then actually development and construction of mines. I was involved in the past with Goldcorp, where I actually built the Red Lake mine for Goldcorp, and then I ran it for about 6 years. Moved on to Guyana Goldfields after Goldcorp, and ran that with the Aurora project, and eventually also ran East Main Resources with the Eau Claire project in northern Quebec. Cautionary statements. So currently we're listed on the AIM exchange under LND. Our market cap is around $15.5 million Canadian, but the project, the BAM Gold Project itself, is valued at $314 million because we do have a PEA that's about 1.5 years old on that project. We do have an upcoming new listing on the Toronto Stock Exchange on the Venture, and we have conditional approval on that already. We have mainly one condition to meet that is left, and that is to do a financing. We're looking at up to $5 million Canadian to be financed, so then we can be listed officially and bring in some Canadian and maybe some U.S. investors, mostly Canadian investors, into the mix. Because we're on the AIM, our shareholding is mainly out of the UK, a lot of retail. So we want to change that moving forward because we are a Canadian company with a great Canadian asset. So the big change in the company is me taking over 4 months ago. I brought in a communications and marketing person to help me, and our strategic plan is very clear. We've got multiple assets, but it's really all about the BAM Gold Project north of Thunder Bay, Ontario. So we are reviewing non-core assets, some of these other ones that I mentioned, with the idea to option them out or sell them over time. And that includes lithium blocks that we just actually sold, and that deal is about to close officially within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to say. And then we have a program after we do our financing. We do want to proceed with a drilling program on BAM to basically expand it. So what is the value proposition? New experienced Canadian management. We're going to be dual listed, and we're significantly undervalued compared to our main assets. So it's a great opportunity for Canadian investors to come in. But BAM itself, our flagship, is quite unique. The geology is very well understood. It's at surface. It's all gold and typical Canadian Shield Archean greenstone setting. We do have already 1.5 million ounces on as a resource on the deposit, and it's open pittable right from surface. We do have a lot of growth potential. That's going to be very important moving forward for us to be able to grow this deposit somewhat further. Great location, as I mentioned, north of Thunder Bay. I'll cover some of that. And great infrastructure, road access. We have a rail nearby. And conventional milling. Nothing unusual about the milling of the ore, and 98% recovery is what our met testing shows. So great economics on this project, and this is basically why we believe that, you know, we've got something pretty significant here that will be a future mine. Corporate structure, I'm going to keep it simple, 122 million shares outstanding. Obviously, with the upcoming financing, we will be increasing that number, and then we'll be rebalancing our shareholdings between the UK mainly and Canada. Won't go through too much detail here. What I want to say is Glenn, Hugh, and Helen were with the company as directors prior to me joining. So we were 4 directors up until early this week when we announced a new Canadian director based in the GTA. It was Larry Strauss, who's sitting right here. So welcome, Larry, to the company. Michelle Tuomi, she runs the subsidiary. So we have a Canadian subsidiary. I run the parent company. She runs a subsidiary, reports to me. She's based out of Thunder Bay, been with the company for 18 years as a geologist, so very well-versed, very experienced when it comes to our key projects. And Tanya, like I mentioned earlier, joined us back in early August. Whoops, go back, sensitive. So we're in pretty good company in Northern Ontario. As I mentioned earlier, I was involved with the Red Lake Mine, which is #1 on that list. And I think we're in the right jurisdiction. And again, Canadian Shield, fairly straightforward for us. So here I want to mention that through our property, which is quite significant, the property, I'm going to say from east to west, is about 31 kilometers long, and we've got, you know, where the mineralization happens is a belt that goes right through the property from roughly 0.5 kilometer to 1.5 kilometers wide. So you can imagine an elongated deposit, which is what I'll be showing you. There's multiple prospects and deposits and resources on that belt, and BAM is located right in the center of it. Sensitive. Jeez, sorry. Okay, if I can back up a bit there. Okay. Infrastructure, I just want to mention, you leave Thunder Bay, you drive north on a paved highway to Armstrong, and from Armstrong, 2 hours by a well-maintained gravel forestry road, and you're right at our site just north of Auden on the map, and so direct road access. And then at Auden, that's an actual station for the CN Rail, so for future logistics, infrastructure, bringing in materials, equipment, this will be very useful to us. So considering this is in Northern Canada, this is very easily accessible from an infrastructure perspective. This is driving me nuts. So this is the property. Where you see the green going across, that's kind of the 31 kilometers I was talking about. So our property is in red, Boxton in red. We sold the lithium assets, which are to the northwest on here, and that's already taken care of. But where you see the blue line, that's what I was talking about, this belt that crosses the property, where some of our deposits are. So you see BAM on this map, but near BAM, right to the east, about 1 kilometer away, we actually have a nickel resource. And on the other side, 2 kilometers away from BAM, we actually have a battery metal resource. So 3 resources within about 4 kilometer diameter. And those, although those at this point are not being worked on because we are so focused on BAM, eventually we will consider what we want to do with these other resources. There could be some interesting benefits there in the future. So when we talk about BAM, roughly just over 1 million ounce in the indicated category, and then about 500,000 or a bit less in the inferred category. We've had great success with drilling in the past. When we did the PEA and we put pits around, basically 2 large pits around the deposit, then we captured 833,000 ounces at surface at 1.16 gram per ton. So very good grade at surface. The deepest point in the pits is about 200 meters. So this is fairly shallow, again, deposit and elongated. The economics that came out of the PEA are significant. $231 million, million dollars US for the post-tax NPV, and the IRR is 67%. So those are very strong economic numbers. I just wanted to show this in general. That's the total deposit, about 4 kilometers long. Within that, we've got the 2 pits, which are shown a little bit in the background there, the west pit and the east pit beside it. And this is the long section. What I want to show here is towards the center, the darker colors and tighter spacing of drill holes. That's indicated resource. On the edges is the inferred. It's not that we don't have gold where the inferred is, it's just that we just don't have the spacing for drilling. So part of our future drilling campaign, which will be coming up in Q1 of 2024, we will tackle the inferred to convert to indicated, and then we'll do step outs to show that this is a growing deposit. So our drilling campaign is going to be up to 10,000 meters, and we'll follow that with an updated resource estimate, which will then show the growth that we have in this deposit, and then we'll follow that with a decision on either we continue to do expansion drilling and or we go into a pre-feed. So we may do both in parallel at that point, and that would be decided around the spring of 2024. So let's call it within 6 to 7 months from now. Okay. So this is one of my favorite slides, actually, of the presentation. What you see here is about half of the 31 kilometers. So at the bottom, you see it's about 17 kilometers long. And the section that you see where you see it says BAM, you see 2 dark spots. Those are the two pits that we captured as part of the PEA. But on this map in yellow is the soil gold anomalies that we've been collecting for the last 8 years on this project. And you can see there is gold all over the place. It's pretty clear on this kind of east-west direction along this belt that I referred to. There was a displacement a bit to the west. Some of the gold went south, and then it goes across. But my point of this particular slide is if 4 kilometers where BAM is, as let's call it 2 million ounces upcoming after this drill campaign, how many more millions of ounces do we have along this stretch that's about 12 kilometers long? Is it 4? Is it 6? Time will tell, but it could be pretty significant. So to wrap up, what sets Landore apart? New Canadian management team, soon to be dual listed, undervalued market cap compared to our flagship, the BAM Gold Project. Great opportunity for Canadian investors to come in, and BAM is quite unique and exceptional. Understood geology, open pitable, significant resource growth potential, great location, excellent infrastructure, conventional milling, and excellent economics. And I do want to mention that the upcoming financing is about to be announced very, very, very soon. And I will come in, and a bunch of insiders are coming in, but I will personally come in to the financing for $250,000. Thank you.